Hey, you're hanging out in the Link Up Lounge. I'm Tiffany Mason.
And I'm Donna Ruppel. Around here, we believe success isn't just about what you know, it's about who you link up with. This is your lounge for turning one link into endless opportunities.
Donna, it blows my mind that the two of us have over 30 years of combined networking experience.
I know! We've built businesses, expanded networks, and created unstoppable momentum, all through the power of strategic connections.
AKA networking. And now we're here to guide you to do the same, starting today.
So let's dive in, connect, and start making moves you didn't even know were possible.
Welcome back to the Link Up Lounge. I'm Tiffany Mason with Virtually You, the boutique podcast management agency, and I'm here with my co-host, Donna Ruppel, your Nakati real estate expert.
This is your lounge for turning one link into endless opportunities. And today, that link might come from somewhere unexpected because we're talking about the power of networking outside your industry.
I agree, because when you stay in your lane, you miss the view. Some of your biggest opportunities can come from people who don't know what you do. And that's the point. Lots of times it's who knows who. I can't tell you how many times I have connected with anyone available in a room through conversation. I look around and oh my gosh, I had a moment the other day where I was thinking of your raft analogy. I was listening to a podcast, always listening to a podcast. Every story I think I tell starts that way. Sorry, guys. But I was listening to a podcast and she was talking about how she was, just dying. Like she didn't know anybody and she was looking around the room. And I thought of your life raft analogy where like when you know somebody, you can jump on the life raft and kind of float for a minute and catch your breath. Anyway, when I'm ready to go back out into the water, I do like to look around and see like who's available, who looks like they, I could strike up a conversation with them. Sometimes I even like to challenge myself and I'm like, who looks like the biggest, nut to crack here? Who would be the toughest person to have a conversation with? And I'll go conquer that person. Sometimes I like the challenge, but I can't tell you how many times I have connected with somebody and I realize an opportunity either for them to refer me or for me to make an introduction for them to someone. It's happened many times and through some of the most unlikely resources. And I'm always kind of surprised, like the person remembers me or they remember our conversation or I don't know, like, it was just so unlikely. And then it ended up being this beautiful connection and we were able to, help one another out or one of us helped the other one out or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, it's just not always where you think the introduction is going to come from or the opportunity.
Exactly. Cross-industry connections can bring fresh ideas for sure. I love when somebody that like kind of is outside my norm has a great idea about something. I'm like, oh, that's brilliant. Okay. New audiences, it can come unexpected referrals, creative collaborations you might never see coming. I mean, just creative and collaborations I never see coming anyway. So I love when somebody else has a creative collaboration.
I know I was having a conversation one time with this guy who was like in construction or something. And turns out like his kid was getting into podcasting and I have this checklist on my website. And so I was able to send him to my website and he'd get this checklist on how to start his podcast. But, podcasting and construction, not a natural, you're not really seeing the connection there.
Right.
But through the conversation, it came pretty naturally. But okay, so let's start with the why. So networking outside your niche expands your thinking. It forces you to explain your work in a more relatable way. I know I'm more comfortable introducing myself and my business to women. Women are, kind of warm and we're curious about one another and we'll ask follow-up questions and we'll lean into the conversation. But I attended a networking event where there were a lot of men and sometimes men are intimidating to me because I feel like men are like all about the facts and I'm not. It's not where I'm at. I don't live in the fact analysis world. And so it's a little bit intimidating and they use a lot less words, you guys. Come on, guys, give us more words. So anyway, I find it a little bit more intimidating. But if I put myself in those situations more often, that would become a little bit more natural to me.
Yes. And sometimes the very thing you offer is needed most by someone not in your industry. A coach might need a designer. A tech founder might need a realtor. That'd be good. You don't know what someone needs until you talk to them, right?
Yeah,
And
that tech founder could need a new office space. You don't know.
right?
Till you have the
Totally.
conversation.
Well, I mean, it's funny because I had a showing on my listing and the buyer's agent was actually out of town. And so he asked me to show his clients the listing, which obviously I'm going to do. And in that, I knew they were fully represented by their agent, right? But we got
Yep.
to talking, actually. We got to talking about life and just things. And it's that conversation and letting people get to know you and you getting to know
Yep.
them. And come to find out, they were moving from Virginia Beach, which is close by where I used to live. And I had been there a
Mm,
number of times. And so we kind of talked about that and how the beaches up there are very different than the beaches down here. And then, fast forward an hour into our conversation, we were like, oh my gosh, we've been talking for an
getting
hour,
lunch. You're
right?
babysitting their kids.
They're like, we have a dog in the car. I was like, oh my gosh. Anyway, it was a cool day. Don't be concerned. Okay. But
Nobody, no hate mail. Don't nobody.
no, it was a
The
cool
dog was
day.
taken care of.
There were
Had
windows. We
water.
looked at him. It was all
Took him
good.
for a 2-hour walk.
Right. Anyway, the point is, at the end of the day, they are going to be looking for commercial space. And they were like, do you do commercial real estate? And I was like, yes, I do. And so then they called me a week later, and I'm now currently searching for commercial space for them. And had we not had that conversation, I mean, bottom line is they were like, it was so cool to chat with you. I can't believe we've been talking for an hour. We would love for you to help us with our commercial find. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. So, you just never know where just having a conversation with somebody and talk about like somebody who already has a buyer's agent, they're like, he
Yeah.
doesn't do commercial, let alone up here,
Yeah.
so it worked out. But yeah, I mean, just having that conversation with somebody outside where you would think you would normally get a lead or normally get a referral, you're always going to be surprised. I will say I am always surprised and delighted when I have conversations with people that are of the creative mindset, much like you, Tiffany. The creative mindset, because I am not so much on the creative mindset. I'm more of like the get stuff done mindset and not
You
a
are
lot of
the numbers. You are the analytical person.
I
And this
am.
is the intimidating person. So it's funny that we are friends
I
because
know. It's perfect because I'm like, oh, you're so creative. You come up with these amazing ideas that I just am like, yes. Okay. Because my brain doesn't work the same way. So I love having conversations with creative people because they have such creative ways to collaborate and to, prop each other up and to work together. And I love that.
Yep. I love that too. And I love that it's like it feels kind of like you just got a gift or something. Like, I don't know if there's a dopamine hit or serotonin or what happens physiologically, but it's so rewarding when you're like, wait, what? Yeah,
Yeah.
I need that kind of person in my life. You do that? That's amazing. Tell me more. And then they're excited that you're, excited about what they do. So, yes. Okay. So, where are you going to go? Where are you going to have these unexpected conversations? Where are these people that you don't know that are out of your niche?
Right?
I will recommend your local chamber events. And I know our chamber has Jacksonville is the largest landmass city in America. So you can say you're from Jacksonville, but that is very vague. But these networking groups are like West Jacksonville, North Jacksonville, South Jacksonville. I think that's pretty cool. They have one for young entrepreneurs. I think that's pretty cool. They have one for men. They just one for women. They have different flavors they have different chapters of the chamber that you can attend that could be more specific to you. Or like I was saying, maybe I go attend the men's one. Maybe I go attend one that, I'm on the south side. So maybe I would go to the west side or to the north side just to get a different set of people to have conversations with. Co-working spaces. Okay. You go in, I would encourage you to not put your head down. When you walk in, look for eye contact. I'm always like, is someone giving off the vibe like they're kind of bored with whatever they're working on, or they're having a quick little 5-minute coffee break, or, does somebody make a connection with me? Sometimes you just make a connection through a glance, and maybe that's the person I want to approach. You could also go to multi-industry networking groups like Bond and Beyond. So we are category specific. And when you go, you're going to, like we were talking, a construction person and podcasting may not have an immediate connection that you think of, but through networking, you go, oh, this is how we connect. Or I don't need a realtor right now, but how can I support Donna? Oh, well, she's looking for this middle-aged couple that's relocating and they're looking to downsize. That's somebody that maybe I would know that kind of person. So when you attend multi-industry networking groups and then conferences that aren't specific to your field, maybe you take somebody that is like you and you go to a conference that maybe it's social media, but you and your podcast friend go to this conference about social media. It's something obviously that you need to utilize in your business, but it's not specific to you as a podcaster. So, those are some areas that I would off the cuff that I would recommend that you would find someone outside of your normal bubble.
Yeah, you can also think about like personal interest stuff. I mean, you were talking about going to a conference with a friend, and it made me think, oh, what about like those events that I just want to go to? So maybe it's a charity gala. Maybe you have a
Mm,
charity that you're passionate about and getting involved in it. The people that you can meet through those type of activities, wellness retreats, hobby groups. One of the members of our networking group puts on a art retreat where she brings women into some sort of Airbnb or whatever, and then they do all kinds of various art projects throughout the weekend. I mean, imagine the connections you would make, right? While you're working on a hobby. So sometimes a connection that starts casual and for you and fun and just like a hobby becomes the one that may open a major door.
yeah, sometimes you go to an event to connect on a business level, and sometimes you go to an event that you just want to explore yoga, right? So I know sometimes when people come on my podcast, which is Memories of the Beat, if anybody wants to check it out, shameful plug, people are excited that they get to talk about music. They're like, oh, I'm always on a podcast promoting my book, or I'm always on a podcast talking about the 5 simple steps, this method that I came up with. And they're like, it's so nice just to be on the podcast and just to talk about music, something that I just enjoy. And it's the same thing with these events. Like maybe, 2 people from our networking group go attend this wellness retreat and come to find out we end up making connection, but that's just a perfect example of getting outside of your bubble, going to do something that you think is just for fun. But, I kind of have networking as a lifestyle in my brain. Like we've talked about how I'm just an extrovert and I just like meeting people and I like learning about people. But I think those genuine conversations in those settings come full circle to an opportunity, either for me or them. So, along with that, these conversations that you're genuinely having, that person is likely not in your same field. So, you have to approach that conversation a little differently, right? Like when I was saying, talking to the men, I feel like men are more about facts and get to the point and they're not worried about the long story, give them the short story and all those kind of things, right? So, you definitely need to be curious, like I'm saying, ask questions. What's something exciting that you're working on right now? Maybe that gets it started. But then, like, I don't know, think if you were actually interviewing them. And maybe that's why I'm so curious because I'm constantly in an interview mode or like this with you, Donna, like on a podcast. So I'm constantly thinking about how to keep the conversation going. And we also need to think about open ended questions. So, what's something exciting that you're working on right now? They can't say no or yes. They can't shut it down.
No.
If they did, if they did, you'd be like, wait, what? Wait, why'd you say yes or no? It wasn't a yes or no question. So think about those open ended conversations that you can have. Share your work in a story, not in a pitch. I think we've talked about that before too. Maybe you share a win of one of your clients or something else, but just not, I edit podcasts and make it so business owners don't have to focus on their podcast. Do you have a podcast? Are you looking for a podcast manager? No, no,
No.
lady. Do you know
No.
anybody with a podcast? Yeah,
Eh.
and then listen for overlap. Is there any problem that they're having that your work solves? I mean, when you're asking these questions and listening to them, that should come up. It should come up. Some alarms should go off like, ooh, I can help this person. I know someone who
Yeah.
can help this person.
I love that you're talking about open-ended questions, asking questions, and not giving a pitch because I was just having a conversation with somebody the other day who is a little bit frustrated about the reaction or responses they're getting from people when they try and talk about their business. So I literally had this conversation where I was like, the best thing to do is let's just be real, there are certain businesses out there that people automatically have a wall up. I think I've talked about this before and I used car dealerships.
Car
Yeah.
dealership.
Yeah. I used a car dealership because, like, when you go to a car dealership, like you are fully armor
Oh
on.
yeah.
Don't talk
Oh
to me.
yeah.
Don't look at me. I'm
Yes.
here for this. Right.
Everybody's a slime ball.
right? Hey, you don't trust
Yep.
anything,
No,
okay. Yeah. So
no.
there's certain industries where the second you say that you're in it, people's
Yep.
guard is gonna go up, okay? And yes, realtor is one of them. I mean, how many times do people go, "Oh, what do you do?" And I go, "Oh, I'm a realtor." And they're like, "Oh, pff, I know 5,000 of you," and they walk off, right?
Mhm.
I literally have a guy now that's a client of mine, but in the beginning, when he asked what I did and I said I was a realtor, he was like, "Oh, I don't need one of those. I have, 5 friends that are realtors." And I was like, "Oh, I'm sure you do."
Yeah.
Needless to say, he kept asking me questions about things. And finally, he said, "You know what? I should just have you help me." And then he signed his buyer representation agreement and
Oh,
he's a client.
wow.
And I find it funny because I just went, "Oh, I'm sure you do." And I didn't say anything else. I didn't try and convince him that I'm better than anybody or that I should be his realtor or, give him my pitch or anything. I was like, "Oh, yeah, I bet you do. Everybody has 5 realtor friends."
Yeah.
But the reason that he ended up choosing me was because of he's looking in Nocatee and he realized that my knowledge of Nocatee is pretty deep as far as all the various neighborhoods. And so he saw the value in me versus his 5 friends who don't live in Nocatee.
Mm,
And that was kind of the difference maker, but it wasn't because I pitched him. So as I
yeah.
was talking with somebody about this, they're in an industry that people put their guard up automatically. And they are so creative. They have so many creative ideas on how their business can work through another business. Okay. And I love that energy. And I think that's amazing and creative. But for a lot of people, it makes the wall go thicker and higher and wider and broader. And they're like, "Stop selling me." Okay. But she's not selling.
Mm.
She's really
Mhm.
just saying, "Oh my gosh, you know what you could do? You know how we could work together. We could, da, da, da." And her brain is going so fast and she's so excited about it. And I love that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
unfortunately, not
The
everybody
other
enjoys that.
person.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like as your creative energy grows, because I can be like that too, and so as your creative energy grows and you're getting more and more excited about, that person is like, "Okay, this person is getting very intense, and
Right.
okay, this is going a lot faster than I thought it was going to be, and I don't know what she expects out of me." And yes, yes,
Exactly.
I have
Exactly.
definitely felt that before where, and maybe you're talking about me, I don't know.
No, no,
But
I'm not. No, I'm not. No, but I told her, I said, what I would encourage you to do is ask questions about them, learn about their business. Don't say anything
Yeah.
about your business. And then after you ask them all these questions about their business and what they're, what's something exciting they're working on right now. And what do how do you do that? And what does that entail? And you just really dive in and have them talk about their business. Then when they're done, they're going to start asking you about your business. And that's where you're really
Mm.
going to have to rein in that creativity and that energy and that power and just tell them what you do, and then when you walk away from it, they're going to go, "Wow, I met one of those industries where I put my armor up and they didn't sell me on anything. They didn't pitch me on
Yeah.
anything." And then the next time they see you or the next time they hear your name, they're going to remember that you didn't sell them at all. And that
Mhm.
is going to earn you a ton of credibility. So the next
Mhm.
time you see them, you can let a little more of that creative exuberance come out, okay? Because now they don't have their full armor up. You might be able to chip in there a little bit, okay?
Well, I think that could be just a tip in general, that when you feel the other person pull away a little bit, go into them a little bit more. So,
Mhm.
ask
Yeah,
questions about them a little bit more. And I think, truth be told, everybody likes to talk about themselves and
right.
they're excited to share about their business and who they are and all those things. Be curious, and, it'll pay off likely that they will, like you said, go, "Oh, well, what about your business? What do you do?" You know,
Yeah. Yeah, typically. I
a
mean,
little
not
bit more
always. I mean,
casual
you do
way.
have some
Yeah.
people that will just walk away, but most of the time,
Takers.
right? Most of the time, people will want to learn about you. "Oh, what do you do?" I find that if I'm talking about myself for a while, I'll be like, "Oh, crap, I haven't asked them. What do you do? Tell me about your
Yeah.
business." And then
Yeah.
I love to get into the nitty gritty. Like, now, how do you make money on that? Like,
Yeah. Oh,
how is
sure.
the business actually? I like to get in on it. But remember, just because you don't speak the same industry language, it doesn't mean you can't collaborate. I mean, obviously, right? In fact, those partnerships often bring the most innovation, the most creativity.
Yes.
And it's usually not me who brings it up. It's usually somebody else who brings it up. And I go, yes, that's an amazing idea. And I want to do that. Okay. So you've got to match the energy and the receptiveness, though, especially if you are in one of those industries that people kind of put a wall up on, like realtors. They do that all the time, right?
Right.
Direct sales, you get that a lot. Car sales, obviously.
Mhm.
But anytime you feel resistance, that is a time to be super careful about the energy you're bringing. And like you said, dive more into what their business is and ask them more questions.
Yeah, I think you make a great point. You don't have to be a chameleon. You just have to stay open. You don't have to know how to speak their language. You don't have to pretend that you know everything about their industry. Just stay open, stay curious. The person sitting across from you at the coffee shop who does something totally different from you might be the exact connection you didn't know you needed.
Yes, the best part of networking is being surprised. I love when somebody surprises me with how we can work together. So give yourself a chance. Give yourself a chance to be surprised,
Light bulb moments are fun when you're like,
right?
wait, what? Yeah, like I'm saying it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if it's dopamine or serotonin or what, but
Right?
it feels good.
I always get those light bulb moments when somebody has a creative idea. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah, they're fun.
Okay, well, it's about time for our networking mode on segment. This week's tip: attend one event not connected to your industry. Bonus points if it's something fun or a personal interest base. Go in with curiosity, not expectation, and see what unfolds. Networking mode on.
And don't forget, tag us when you step outside of your comfort zone. We want to see where you're making bold moves, meeting unexpected connections. Follow us on Instagram at _linkup lounge and share your story. You might just inspire someone else to do the same. Let's keep building those powerful links together.
You've been hanging out in the Link Up Lounge, your lounge for turning one link into endless opportunities.
Now it's your turn. Go make a powerful link today.
Networking mode on.